Hey there, everybody. Thank you for watching. As always, I really do appreciate it. This is part 5 of my photography room project. At the end of part 4, I just finished making all the drawers for the drawer cabinets. Since then, I've gone ahead and sanded the drawers just with some 80 grit sandpaper, rough sanding in and out just to get rid of the glue and tape. And as we kick off part 5 here, I'm back at the bench about to add trim to the first drawer cabinet. So with that, let's get into it. Now I need to start trimming out this cabinet, this drawer cabinet. I have to do that first so that I know when I start to install the drawer slides, I know better how to align them to get the false fronts on correctly. So what I'm going to use to trim this out, I've got some 1.5 inch S4S poplar for the trim. And actually, I'm going to be using my good old biscuit joiner. Yes, I still have this for this process because I'm going to use number 10 biscuits to put on the face frame. And I'm going to use the biscuit joiner, to cut the biscuit slots around the perimeter of the base cabinet. And then for the trim, I'm going to use this slot cutting bit, router bit. This is not the actual bit. The real bit I'm going to use and already used for this is already in my router table, but I'm going to use this to cut slots on the face frame material. And then I'll just line it up this way on the actual face frame. And then use my 23 gauge pneumatic nailer to hold the face frame in place once I glue it. That's going to be the process. I've gone ahead and cut a couple of pieces here for this first drawer. This is the first drawer you see when you walk in the room. And you can see I've already added this additional side here, as I mentioned, to cover the screws that I use to clamp the top and bottom for this cabinet. So now all I have to do is start going around the perimeter. I'm going to start on the sides here, and then add the top and bottom pieces for the trim with my biscuit joiner, and then start the installation. So I'm going to start on this side, actually, closest to me. Add these. And then line up the face frame and then just tack it in place. All right, now it's time for me to install the drawer slides. I have here that first cabinet when you walk in the bedroom. And if you watched my episode on hanging drawers, you'll understand my method here, which I won't go over in great detail. But basically, per the instructions for this drawer slides, I've determined how far back the drawer slides need to be recessed from the front edge of the cabinet. And also based on my drawer layout, again, a 6, 9, and 12 inch drawer, I've determined where the bottom of these drawer mounts need to be on the cabinet side. So based on that, I've cut some spacers out of plywood. I will clamp in place. Since it's the same layout for both cabinets, this one and on the right side of the bed, if I was just doing one, usually I would use one piece of plywood, do the mount, basically work my way down, cut the plywood, and do it again for the lower drawers. But since, again, I'm going to use the same layout, I made another template to use for the middle drawer on this cabinet and the other. So yeah, based on that, let me go ahead and start mounting the slides. Okay, now I need to install these things on the bottom of the drawers to work with the drawer slides. So this is for the right, left here. That didn't work. Okay, now for these drawer slides, I need to cut some grooves or cut out a portion along the back, again, to accept the drawer slides. And this is the back of the drawer, so cut enough out so it's not a total, I'm not totally destroying the drawer, but again, it's on the back, so I'm not going to get too crazy. Okay, a few relief cuts. And finally, I need to cut or drill a couple of notches in the back here for these drawer slides. So and then there are a couple of little screws that they provided to go into the drawer bottoms. right. Let's see if this works. And there is the first drawer. All right, now I have all the drawers installed. So now what I need to start working on are the false fronts for the drawers. And I've decided that I'm going to use plywood for the false fronts. Usually I would use joined lumber, just use hardwood. Never tried using MDF, but that's a possibility. But I figure since I'm going to paint it anyway, plywood will be fine. And what I plan to do to get this profile around the outside perimeter of the drawers is I bought this mini molding at Owl Lumber to put along the edge of the drawer fronts. However, I need to figure out if this might be too big. I'm going to go ahead and make the false front, make one for the small drawer and see. But if when this is installed, I don't like that look, because it's going to stick out almost that far. If I think that looks stupid, the other option I'm thinking of is trimming off the bull nose basically and just making this profile square as I had drawn in the design. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I'm already kind of starting to like the way this looks. We'll see. Let me just make one and decide after that. All right. What do you think? Kind of like it, actually. All right, so I slept on it and had a change of heart with respect to the drawer fronts. Oh. Yeah, I decided to go ahead and trim off this piece of it so that the drawer fronts now are more squared off. I like the look better, so now I'm going to go ahead and put the other drawer fronts on and keep working. All right, now that I have finished adding trim to the corner cabinet and that first drawer cabinet, the next thing I need to do is go upstairs and start the installation process. What I'm going to do is go upstairs now and cut the carpet up, put down the platform that the cabinets are going to sit onto, just so that I can confirm the width of that opening for that last cabinet. This one here on the left side of the bed in between the corner cabinet. Just want to confirm that what that width is. And once I do that, we can come back downstairs and I can start making it. Here I am back in the room about to start installing the base cabinets. I've already gone ahead and cut the carpet up. I'm just showing here the birch plywood platform that I made to raise the base cabinets off the floor by 6 inches. And just for a little preview, this is what it's going to look like once it's installed. Right here, I just have the cabinets sitting on the platform, just to show you what I'm trying to do here. So again, I've gone ahead and already cut the carpet up. And here, I'm just cutting the baseboard trim. I might actually go back and remove the whole piece on the wall there, but I'm not sure at this point, so I just want to remove the baseboard from behind the platform. And once I get the carpet and the padding up, then I need to start removing the tack strips. And what I'm going to do with that, with those tack strips, is move them to underneath where I've cut the carpet, so that when I'm finished, when we're walking around the room, using the room or whatever, the carpet doesn't start to, pull or wrinkle. And after I get the tack strips back down and, get the whole, project done, get the cabinets installed and whatnot, the baseboard trim I'm going to add around the bottom of the base cabinet, so it'll serve the same purpose as the base trim that was there before in terms of holding the carpet down so it doesn't move and whatnot as you use the room. Here I'm just using my pocket hole jig to add some pocket screw holes to the platform so I can actually attach it to the floor. Of course, make sure it's level and go ahead and attach it. And here, again, one of the main reasons I came up to do this part of the project is to start basically to confirm the width of that last cabinet that will go in between the corner cabinet and the Murphy bed frame. I know I had the design dimensions and whatnot, but just to be sure, I'm going to actually put the cabinets in and measure the width. Okay, now that I have installed that corner cabinet and confirmed the width of that one last cabinet I need to make that's on the left side of the bed, now what I'm going to do is I've gone ahead and added rabbets on the back edges, along the back edges of the two sides of that last cabinet. And before I construct the carcass, what I'm going to do now is drill or use my router to make a series of holes along the inside sides of the cabinet for adjustable shelf pins. And to do that, I'm going to use my Festool LR32 system. It's basically a system for this type of thing for cabinet making. I'm not going to drill holes the whole length. Basically, I'm going to drill holes in about this section of the sides for, I'm thinking, one adjustable shelf. I'll have enough holes so that if I want to add another shelf later, I can do that, but one should be enough. All right, so I've gone ahead and set the system up to drill the holes 37 millimeters in from the front edge, and I'll do the same for the back edge. So with that, let me take off my guides and start routing. I can remove these. The thing I like about this system is that, I mean, if you don't want that look of pinholes all the way up and down the inside of your cabinet, this is nice for that. Okay, now that I have routed the holes in the sides of that last cabinet, I made the cabinet the same way I made the other two cabinets. I've added the trim of the face frame around that cabinet the way I did the others. And I've made the cabinet doors for both the corner cabinet and this last shelf cabinet. So what I need to do now is go up to the room and fit the cabinet doors before I come back down to add the hinges. Okay, so I'm back up in the room, and what I'm going to do is set these cabinet doors inside the opening to try to make some marks on the door so I can come back down and shape the doors to make the gap around the perimeter uniform. Here you can see one mark that I've made on the top left of what I need to trim off to make some room. Similarly, on the bottom left, I have a mark here where I need to take it in on the bottom left and taper that all the way up the left side of the cabinet to make that gap uniform. And then likewise on the top right, you can see a little line I've made there. I need to taper that all the way down to the bottom right to make that gap uniform. And then I made just a general mark on the bottom to let me know I need to take some off the bottom to make the top and bottom gap uniform. So I'll do the same thing with the corner cabinet door. Come back down to the shop, shape it, and go from there. Okay, now that I have made those little notes upstairs on the cabinet doors where I need to further shape the cabinet door so that it fits in nicely in the opening, what I'm going to do now is transfer those marks across the cabinet door to give me some cut guidelines, basically, that I will then take to my table saw, table saw, to make the cuts. Could do it by hand also. Maybe I'll do it with the plane actually. Might be easier. The hand plane, and clamp it onto my bench here. Maybe I'll do that. At least for these. On the end, I'll just cut it across. I'll do that first on the table saw and then shape the sides. I'm going to start by planing off that much on that end. And likewise, this much on that end. And then fit it again. And for the end here, I'll cut that first. I'm going to take off about that much. And then try it again. Okay, now that I have the fit that I want on the cabinet door, the next thing I'm going to do is install the hinges on the door. And I'm going to use these hinges here, these cup hinges, and they attach to the back of the face frame like this. There's a little lip right there on the hinge. And once you line it up, it attaches to the back of the face frame like that. What sold me on this jig is, every hand drill has some wobble in it, unlike a good drill press. And this collar here fits very nicely. So as you saw, even if the drill wobbles a little bit, I know this bit is staying where I want it to stay. So that, and those are metal. So that's what sold me on this jig. All right, now that I have the cabinet doors installed, the corner cabinet and that small cabinet next to the bed, the next thing I have to do is install the drop front desk. And I've already started editing for this episode, and I realized that I didn't show any footage of me making the cabinet doors, which is fine, because I have an episode on making frame and panel cabinet doors that you can check out if you want to see the process I went through. I basically did the same thing for these cabinet doors. Again, this drop front desk is basically just a big cabinet door. The process I used for this and the other smaller cabinet doors for the corner cabinet and the little shelf cabinet are I just used my domino joiner, which I went through in that other episode on frame and panel cabinet doors. I just didn't add any profile to the edges for these doors. These are simply a shaker frame and panel type of arrangement. So check it out if you want to. But for these cabinet doors, and well, for this one, which is, again, the drop front desk, I'm using MDF for the center panel. I used Baltic birch plywood for the other ones. And the plan wasn't for this to be some sturdy desk you could dance on, obviously. So I'm using 3/8 inch thick MDF, just a small desk you can put a laptop on, do some work on, that type of thing. Actually, before I go upstairs to install this door, I need to figure out how to put this little lock on. Because if I put this door in without a handle, it's going to be a pain opening back up. once I close it. So I know I need to drill a 3/4 inch hole here. Found the instructions online. Oh, let me figure this out. Oops. Oh. Now I get it. It would help if they wrote stuff down. I got it. Okay, now it is time to start cutting countertops. I'm gonna cut the corner piece first. I've gone ahead and made a pattern for the corner, so let me trace that out, and I'm gonna use my track saw to go ahead and cut it out. And here's what the project looks like so far. The base cabinets are installed, they're attached at least, but the countertops are just sitting there. Something to finish sand those before I install them. The countertops came out pretty nice. Happy with everything so far except for that drop front desk. You might recall in an earlier episode I mentioned that the struts supporting the desk looked small. Well, they are too small. They'll support the desk so that it won't slam open, fall out, but it's not going to do what I want it to do. So I need to fix that. I might just add some cables to the desk and attach it to the bed bottom there to support it when it's open or something like that. I'll figure it out, but yeah, that ain't going to work. So far, that's where we're at. All right, that does it for part 5. I hope you're finding this useful. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to my channel so you can get notifications of future content, including part 6, because we are close to the finish line. And yeah, bye for now.
I see you're trying hard to pretend